So there's one group of people right now who like the idea of potentially trading Aaron Rodgers just because of, what the Packers could get in return for a potential Aaron Rodgers trade, likely being multiple first-round picks, possibly some other things as well. And so, of course, right now, the biggest thing we're watching is what is Aaron Rodgers going to decide? What are the Packers going to decide? Because it seems right now from Matt LaFleur talking that the Packers are basically all in with Aaron Rodgers still to this point. It almost seems right now that it's sort of in Aaron Rodgers' court to decide what he wants to do, whether retire, whether stay in Green Bay, whether leave Green Bay. And so today I want to go over this one little excerpt I found here on Reddit from the Packers Reddit posted by BipBip, however you say the rest of that. And this is his take on here's why you trade Aaron Rodgers. It sort of goes over some history with the Packers that honestly I had no idea. I wasn't born at the time that he's saying here. But I sort of want to read through this real fast and then sort of give my thoughts and reactions. And then as you as well, whatever you think about this, I'm always curious to hear what other Packers fans think because I know everyone has a different opinion on, what should happen with the Packers next. So after you watch this, drop in the comments below your thoughts on this situation. So he says here's why you trade Rodgers. In 1974, the San Diego Chargers traded John Haddle, never heard of him, to the Green Bay Packers. Haddle was traded for 5 draft picks, first and second round picks for 1975 and 76, as well as a third-round pick in 1975. The Packers felt that an experienced quarterback was the only thing standing between the team and only their second playoff appearance since 1967, and it came about after an attempted trade for Archie Manning and the New Orleans Saints fell through. I had no idea that the Packers were ever trying to trade for Archie. My mom was barely alive at this point. She was probably like 6 or 7. I was a ways out from entering the world. Then he says, in the year before Haddle was named All-Pro and was a first-team Pro Bowl selection, he was considered the best or second-best quarterback in the league. Haddle or Hoddle, I don't know how you say it, was 34 years old. Aaron Rodgers is 38. That trade turned out to be an unmitigated disaster. It is reckoned as one of the worst, if not the worst, trades for a starting quarterback in NFL history, and the worst trade in Green Bay Packers history, bar none. Most historians believe it is the largest reason the Packers became irrelevant from 1974 to 1990 because their cupboards were bare, meaning all the draft capital they traded away for this guy. They say then in 1990, the Minnesota Vikings traded for Herschel Walker. They received 5 players and 8 draft picks, who from the Dallas Cowboys. That move set up the Cowboys to become a dynasty and the most prominent team of the 1990s. If the Denver Broncos are going to give the Packers 5 to 7 draft picks and players and solve the Packers' cap problem for a 38-year-old future Hall of Famer with only 1 year left on his contract, given the current situation, you take the draft picks and players. So from that, honestly, before I saw this, I didn't know that the Packers made a trade like that back in the day. Apparently, they traded all this draft capital away for a guy who was one of the better quarterbacks at the time, and apparently it did not work out. And so this person seems to think that, or lots of people seem to think, apparently historians, that that was the reason why the Packers struggled in the 70s and the 80s as well. So trading away lots of that draft capital. So now the question is with Rodgers, of course, should the Packers trade him? My take on this situation is the Packers should keep Aaron Rodgers if he wants to stay, because I think when you take a look at this season, clearly I think like the heartbreak of like the past 3 seasons, making it into the playoffs and then 2 NFC championship losses, 1 divisional loss this past week. There's that, that bad taste in our mouths, and I think people are like, well, Rodgers only won the Super Bowl, in 2010, 2011, and he hasn't won in 11 years. Might as well just move on and get draft capital. And while I sort of understand that, clearly getting tons of draft picks can really potentially set the Packers up for the future, I think when you take a look at, this season that we just had right now, moving into this next season, what gives the Packers the best potential chance at a Super Bowl next year? I think that is clearly Aaron Rodgers, because even if Aaron Rodgers comes back, regardless of who the Packers are able to keep, because we are in a tough salary cap situation, even though last year we were seemingly in a bad situation and we figured things out. So I feel like they'll figure things out if Aaron Rodgers does return. And I think with Aaron Rodgers being back in Green Bay, that almost guarantees you a playoff berth. Not necessarily, obviously, anything could happen in a season, but Aaron Rodgers in his history, it basically guarantees you a playoff spot. And the thing is, if Aaron Rodgers isn't here, who knows what will happen with Jordan Love? Because I think with Jordan Love, as I've said the past week or so when we've discussed this on like the live streams, that I think some people have given up too soon on Jordan Love. Maybe he hasn't looked amazing in his short time he's played in these games this past season. Like what is it, one or two showings in games? I think it's too soon to, sort of know what we're going to have from Jordan Love. It doesn't mean I think he's going to be great. He may be great. He may not be great. But I think that with the Packers, with Gutekunst drafting him in the first round, I don't think they're going to, move on from Jordan Love, but at least at this point. But I still think that next season, the most certainty when it comes to potential playoff berth again is Aaron Rodgers, and you never know. The Packers could make a run, next season. Obviously, right now, lots of people are talking about, how Aaron Rodgers is a fraud in the playoffs. He, can't win in these big situations. And it's been unfortunate, that the past few seasons, he hasn't been able to lead the Packers all the way to a Super Bowl. Not that it's always his fault, but it's definitely unfortunate. But one other thing, too, about Aaron Rodgers and him not being clutch in the playoffs, I think that, at least, when you look at the recent past, we've seen lots of those moments. But I think when you take a look farther back, there are lots of moments where Aaron Rodgers was really clutch. Because of the results of some of those games, we forget how clutch he was. I saw this one comment that was sort of breaking down some of his clutch moments. One versus the Seahawks back in the 2014 NFC Championship game. Of course, we have that terrible onside kick fumble by Bostic. The Seahawks get the ball, come up, go up by 3 points. I was watching the highlights because I hadn't watched it in so long, and honestly, brought back a little bit of pain. But as I was watching it, Aaron Rodgers gets the ball back, a minute left, drives down the field, gets the Packers in field goal position. They kick a field goal, tie it 22-22. Rodgers being clutch in that situation. Then, of course, the Seahawks get the toss in their favor, and Russell Wilson drives down the field. So, obviously you can always play the what-if game, but Aaron Rodgers did what he needed to do in that situation, and if the toss would have gone the Packers' way, maybe the Packers make the Super Bowl that year. Then the next season versus the Cardinals, that was a crazy, wild game. Aaron Rodgers comes in with 40, 50 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it was. There was a 50-yard pass to Jeff Janis, then throws like a 50-yard Hail Mary touchdown pass to take that game to overtime as well. So then you also look at the Cowboys game back in, 2016, 2017, driving down the field, putting the Packers in field goal range to win that. I think was that a divisional game, winning that game. So there have been lots of, clutch moments in Rodgers' career that I think, are overshadowed by the end result of the game. But he sort of, at some of those situations, did all that he basically needed to do. So I'm basically just, talking about Aaron Rodgers hasn't always crumbled in playoff situations. There have been, this past game, he didn't look amazing. He didn't make any terrible mistakes, but he didn't, will the Packers to a win. There's definitely lots of debate as to, exactly why the Packers lost that. Partly the offense played poorly. Partly, what is this here? Partly the offense played poorly, and then partly as well, the special teams really struggled in that game. So the future is uncertain with Aaron Rodgers, and my personal opinion is I want Rodgers back. And I do understand, why some people do want to trade him just because of all the draft capital you get back in return. And I'm honestly optimistic if he were to get traded. I think some people could think the Packers are, they're done for because Rodgers wouldn't be here. And as I was saying, I think their best chance of the Super Bowl next year is for Rodgers to be back. But at the same time, I'm not in the camp thinking that just because if Rodgers were to leave, I don't think the Packers are necessarily in a terrible situation. Of course, it partly depends on the play of Jordan Love. But who knows? He could be, an average quarterback. He could be a great quarterback. Who really knows? And I think with the players the Packers have on defense, with potential draft picks the Packers could get, they really could build a solid team, a very, very solid defense, especially coming to Joe Barry's, second year being here, with lots of the Packers, defenders coming back. Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Rasul Douglas, Eric Stokes, Jair. I think the Packers have lots of solid pieces there. I really hope we sign, Devondre Campbell, because I think he was a huge addition to this Packers defense. And so I think that if Rodgers is traded, there's still hope for this Packers team. But clearly, I think with Rodgers on the team, the Packers have the best shot at making another playoff run coming into this next season. But those are sort of my thoughts on the situation. Drop yours in the comments down below. And if you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe if you want to see some more Packers content. Even though we're in the off season, I will still be putting out content pretty much daily, most likely, as I have during the season as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll leave my social media links here and in the comments down below. That is all for right now, and I'll see you guys next time.